Ski Television is brought to you by Mackenzie Investments, confidence in a changing world. Columbia Sportswear, stay warmer longer in Columbia, tested tough. And by Audi Canada. This week on Ski Television, Josh Foster helps us see the light.
You know, one of the biggest challenges people have is visibility.
And then we meet Canada's technical superstar, Marie-Michelle Gagnon.
Working at every little detail, and I seem like I'm going the right way, and I'm pretty excited.
But first, Claire Challen goes touring into the high Alpine of Banff National Park. Lake Louise in Banff National Park is well known for its incredible skiing, beauty, and luxury. But did you know that for over 80 years, visitors have also comfortably enjoyed the region's backcountry? Since the early 1930s, adventurers have traveled an 11-kilometer trail to visit one of North America's first ski touring facilities, the Skoki Lodge.
Normally, I'd be heading out to ski Lake Louise Resort, but this time I was embarking on quite a different sort of ski adventure.
So what we're going to be doing this morning is we're going to head down towards Temple Lodge on the backside of the resort. We're going to head up the valley that's behind the resort underneath Mount Redoubt, taking ourselves around to Boulder Pass and on to Ptarmigan Lake. And from Ptarmigan Lake, we're going to head up over top of Deception Pass and all the way down to Skoki Lodge.
This is ski touring. All my necessary gear and clothing on my back, into Banff National Park with the beautiful backcountry Skoki Lodge as my destination. Not only accessible on Alpine touring gear, guests can also make the 11-kilometer winter trek on cross-country skis or snowshoes, enjoying incredible views of towering peaks along the way. I'd be staying at Skoki and ski touring for a couple of days, and since I hadn't managed to squeeze any food in my pack, I was really looking forward to the fully catered retreat.
So Skoki Lodge is actually part of the Lake Louise Ski Resort leasehold, and guests who come to Skoki Lodge usually check in through Lake Louise at the ski resort and start their trip off at the ski resort, coming up over the front side of the mountain, down the backside, starting at Temple Lodge, which is one of the stops for most people to have lunch at the ski resort. From there, it's about an 11-kilometer ride into Skoki Lodge over Deception Pass, and it's quite a beautiful trek in with some of the most beautiful scenery in the country. There you go. Welcome to Skoki Lodge. You betcha. It's been around since 1931. This is Banff's very first ski lodge. So you've got your main living room here, kitchen's in the back, and sort of sitting, relaxing areas there, and all the rooms are upstairs. So we'll get you settled, get your stuff off, and we'll find you a place to sit down and relax.
All right.
You bet. So a lot of people think that winter would be a really busy time. It's actually down season here in the national park. Summers are our busiest season, but in the winter you can certainly find times to come in here. Sometimes even with a little bit of notice midweek, you can get in and enjoy a couple of nights in here and have a really good time. In the summertime, you probably want to book a little further ahead.
Walking through the door into Skoki, there's a peacefulness that's immediately apparent. Guests leave their phones and worries behind, and after a day outdoors, spend time fireside reading and chatting while the talented staff prepare exquisite meals to start and end each day.
Even though you get away from all the the things in the world that you get used to that are conveniences, you'd think it gets pretty rough back here, but I gotta tell you, the down duvets, the warm beds, the gourmet cooking that the crew here puts on, you know, from breakfast to dinner, the meals are absolutely sumptuous.
So it took us a little while to get in here, but this is our reward.
Definitely, it's a great meal. I mean, it's a labor of love from the staff here, and they've been making some of the best meals in the backcountry for a long, long time.
Well, I've heard about it, and I can't wait to try it.
Well, now you get to.
After the break, Claire's Skoki adventure continues.
So Dan, looking at the map, like there's so many places to go. What do you think we should do today for adventure?
Well, I think we're going to go with the lodge's namesake. We're going to go up Skoki Mountain today, which is right behind the lodge, and we'll work our way through the trees for a little bit until we get onto a bit of a ridge line, and then from the ridge line we'll work our way up a little bit and see if we can find some turns up there.
Okay.
Sounds good?
Sounds great. It's not that I don't like the hiking, but isn't the skiing down the reason you go up? I was ready for a little of that. There are too many routes to explore in the short time we were here, so we left the long valleys for the next trip and chose a steeper route behind the lodge through the trees. Once we reached the Alpine, we happily broke trail through fresh snow in anticipation of a few turns.
Around the lodge itself, there's such a variety of peaks and valleys that go out from, you know, almost like a spiral around here. And the terrain is great for touring, great for adventuring, especially in the wintertime. You know, there's a lot of cross-country trails, and you can also find some great turns around here as well. Well, I'm fortunate enough to bring folks to come in here on a semi-regular basis, especially in the wintertime. And, you know, just the surroundings in here, the environment, and the peace being in the middle of these mountains is so incredible because you're pretty much away from everything. There is no television, there is no Wi-Fi, there's nothing back here, there's not even electricity. The lights, you spend your evenings under the beautiful glow of lanterns and candles, and it's such a wonderful setting. It just helps you put your peace of mind.
When the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge spent a 24-hour vacation at Skoki Lodge, staying in the rustic riverside cabin, exploring the area's natural beauty on foot, surely left them with a royal appetite. Not a problem for the Skoki's kitchen staff, where serving up meals fit for a king is their specialty. Naturally, the royal menu included some AAA Alberta beef. First Load has been brought to you by High Sierra, Adventure This Way.
The first backcountry ski lodge to ever be built in Western Canada, Skoki sits high at over 7,000 feet in the protected and magnificent Banff National Park. The lodge has welcomed guests within its cozy log walls since the 1930s, connecting visiting skiers of today with Skoki's early pioneers.
Welcome to your Skoki dinner. This evening we're going to be enjoying some wild salmon. I finished it with a ginger sesame dressing.
caretaker and amazing chef Katie Mitzel has been a fixture here for 19 years, continuing in the tradition of warmth and welcome in this most special wilderness lodge.
A warm Calgary reception greeted the Canadian mogul team as they arrived for the FIS World Cup. For Philippe Marquis and the rest of the team, success on the weekend will depend on the performance of their gear and apparel.
Well, I think we're on the road like over 200 days a year, and having gear that are tested stuff, it's just a big plus for us. I mean, we need that. I mean, we need to have quality gear to be able to compete at the highest level we can.
Days like today, it's really warm, but you want to make sure you have some clothes that are really close to your skin, you know, keep the moisture in, keep you warm. And then you want to have different layers just to keep it, like the density of your clothing different, and you want to keep warm at all time, all temperature of the day. So really a key factor in super important in all skiers' life, and Colombia is one of the master in this art.
The Russian team, the American team, and the Canadian team has been with Colombia the past few years. So I think with the feedback of every nation, we're at a point where Colombia has great quality gear and tough gear for us to ski, you know, at +10, +20 in the summer, or at -20, -30 when we're, you know, down in Quebec in January or anywhere else in the world. And the boxers, you know, it's just a story that started 5-6 years ago. I just decided to wear a classic pair of boxer, black boxer there. I think black in sport is intimidating, so I was like, I'll wear black and it's gonna bring me luck. So I competed and finished 5th, and with that result, it lucked my spot on the World Cup team. These are my lucky boxer, where my power is at. Without them, I'm nothing, but with those on, I turn into a superstar. Well, I think from the moment you step out of bed to the moment you go to sleep again, what you wear is a little bit what defines you, and it's the image you project. We gear up in Columbia gear, and we do our job, we ski hard, and we try to get on the podium. So it's super important to have something that's not only elegant, but that's comfortable, that's strong, that fits well, you know, all those important assets that are so important in clothing.
You know, this skiing thing, it's an outdoor sport, so if you want the great snow, sometimes you have to endure a stormy day. Coming up after the break, I'll give you a couple of tips to help make that a little bit easier for you. Stick around.
Anyone who knows me knows that I love to spend time in the mountains, and this has been an incredible experience here at Skoki. I'm pretty sad to leave this place. But don't feel too badly for me, as the transition from the wonderful Skoki Lodge proved to be a smooth one. I returned to the Chateau Lake Louise to my room overlooking the lake, and soon joined guests for an afternoon skate. You'd be hard-pressed to find a place that celebrates winter quite like the Chateau Lake Louise. Enjoy a drink at the classy Lake Edge Ice Bar, or top off your wintry day with a warm dinner at the classic Wallisher Stube restaurant.
Ski Tips with Josh Foster, sponsored by Big White Ski Resort, Canada's favorite family resort in Kelowna, BC.
You know, unfortunately, not every day can be like a Warren Miller movie where it snows overnight and it's bluebird during the day. So sometimes if you want to get that great snow, you got to come out on a stormy day like today. You know, one of the biggest challenges people have is visibility. So I always choose a great Bolle goggle. This one's got a pink or a vermilion lens, but an amber lens works pretty well too. You know, there's a few other things that I can show you here today that might help you endure this type of weather condition, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Come on with me for a ski. So to help with the visibility, sometimes skiing here in the trees gives you a bit more definition. It's also where the best snow is. So you've made a good gear choice, you've made a good terrain choice, so what else can you do? So, you know, from my experience, when somebody's skiing and they don't like what they see this way, what they tend to do is they tend to move back this way. So what we want to try to do when the conditions are challenging like this is we want to try to maintain that balance against our outside ski. So come on with me here and I'll show you a couple little tactics that I sometimes use to help with that. Here we go. So one of those things that happens when the visibility is bad is people kind of tip up the hill like this. You see my shoulders are banked like that. Well, to help with that, I can just drag my pole when I plant it on the downhill side. You see that little drag like that as I plant? That helps level the shoulders and keeps me in better balance. So here's another little one here. If you find yourself kind of in this back corner like this, well, maybe just tap the tail of the uphill ski. When I tap the tail of the uphill ski like this, it moves me to my downhill ski, and that's the reference point that I want to create in these challenging conditions. So what are you going to do? Are you going to stay in the lodge and sip a latte? Or are you going to get out there in that stormy weather and enjoy the great snow conditions that come along with it? So remember these things. Get yourself a great pair of goggles like these ones here for a bit better visibility and definition. Maybe choose a tree-lined run. That's going to help clarify things for you. And then for those reference points, keep the shoulders level with the slope with that little bit of a pole drag as you plant, and then maybe a little bit of a tail tap of the uphill ski will keep you balanced on that downhill one. So I hope those work for you. From beautiful Big White Ski Resort, I'm Josh. We'll see you next time.
When there's a ski resort as magnificent as Lake Louise, a mere 5-minute drive away, there's no way I'm going to leave town without spending a few hours there. After filling up on cappuccino and eggs Benny at the Poppy Brasserie in the Chateau, I stepped outside to catch the hotel's free resort shuttle for a morning of skiing with glorious sunshine and non-stop Canadian Rocky Mountain views. Legendary Lake Louise boasts 4,200 skiable acres of world-class terrain. Every year in November, World Cup Alpine racers descend upon the resort's World Cup downhill course, wowing fans with their incredible speeds and skill. USA's Lindsey Vonn has won 13 times here, and thus the resort has been dubbed Lake Lindsey. I've been to Lake Louise a handful of times, but every time I'm blown away by these views. Featured at the base of Lake Louise is the grand log building, Lodge of the 10,000 Peaks. Windows frame the resort, making any dining experience a spectacular one.
When we come back, meet Lane Girl, Marie-Michelle Gagnon. This segment of Ski Television is brought to you by Mackenzie Investments. Confidence in a changing world. Marie-Michelle Gagnon, the veteran leader of the Canadian women's technical team and a consistent top 15 finisher on the World Cup, feels it's only a matter of time before she's back on podium.
I grew up skiing in Alpine. It's a really small hill near Quebec City. I started skiing when I was 2 years old and started racing when I was 7. Actually, I was a figure skater also, and at one point my mom was just like, you have to choose, and it was a pretty easy choice. My first World Cup was in La Molina in Spain, and it had snowed, like so much snow. There was no warm-up, so I remember being like so nervous because I didn't get to do warm-up. And I remember watching the girls like Zettel and all those girls like down the course, and I was just so impressed. And I was just so happy to be there. My first World Cup podium was in Åre, Sweden, and it was just like something really special. I remember being 4th or 5th in the first run, being in the game really close to even like the win and everything. And I ended up being 3rd by 11 hundredths, which was a really tight race, but I was just so stoked. I mean, a medal is a big deal, and I remember just like freaking out in the finish. Like I think I stepped like this, like everywhere. And like my team being there, like everybody, all the girls were there, and they all came and took photos with me, and like we're there for the medals, and it was just really, really special. Being the Milan girl was really cool. That was something that I kind of wanted to do ever since I saw Julia Mancuso and Rezi Stiegler, all those girls that did it. My good friend Federica Brignone, she did it also, and then I went to Paris and did this whole photo shoot the whole day. I was really tired by the end and everything, but it was really, really cool. I have my performance things that I'm working on, like I'm just really working on that body separation and things that are going to make me faster, and I'm hoping that what I'm doing in training becomes more natural and that I'm able to put it down in racing. I've been improving so much every camp and just like working at every little detail, and I seem like I'm going the right way, and I'm pretty excited.
Mackenzie Investments, confidence in a changing world.
Lake Louise invites guests to indulge in themselves and leave work and stress far behind. Skoki Lodge takes that to another level. It may be a little off the beaten path, but an adventure well worth the effort.
Ski Television has been brought to you by Mackenzie Investments, confidence in a changing world. Columbia Sportswear, stay warmer longer in Columbia. Tested tough. And by Audi Canada.